It swims slower than you walk. Its stomach contained a dolphin. Dolphins achieve burst speeds of 1 meters per second. The shark cruises at 0.34. That is a 3:2 to 1 speed disadvantage. Pacific sleeper shark, Somniosus pacificus. The waiting dark. 97% of examined specimens are completely blind. Parasites have consumed both corneas. And they have been hunting like this for 400 years. This briefing documents how a blind animal, slower than walking pace, has become one of the most efficient predators in the ocean. The answer will change how you think about what hunting means. Average adult length, 2 meters. Largest confirmed specimen, 7 meters. Weight, 4,200 kilograms. Eyes measure 6 to 8 centimeters in diameter, roughly the size of tennis balls. Yet 97% show complete bilateral blindness. Cuz, Hematocoita elongata, a parasitic copepod measuring 4 to 6 centimeters. It attaches permanently to the cornea of each eye. The parasites are bioluminescent, faint yellow-green glow. In total darkness at 1500 meters, the only visible feature of a Pacific sleeper shark is the parasite feeding on its eyes. Tissue analysis indicates lifespan estimates of 272 to 512 years. Median estimate, 392 years. Oldest confirmed specimen, approximately 400 years old. A shark born in 1625 could still be hunting today. It would have been alive during the founding of New York City. Harbor seals swim at 2 meters per second. The shark cruises at. That is a 2:0 to 1 speed disadvantage. The seal should escape every time. But when researchers opened the shark's stomachs, they found seals, sea lions, dolphins, prey that should be physically impossible to catch. In 2018, researchers discovered the answer. They call it shutdown state. The shark stops, not slows down, stops. Metabolic rate drops 94%. Electrical field emissions drop below microvolts. Heart rate, 2 beats per minute. It becomes, for all practical purposes, invisible. Not invisible to eyes. Invisible to every sense prey animals use to detect predators. Harbor seals possess electroreceptors. They can detect a heartbeat from 15 meters away. They cannot detect a Pacific sleeper shark in shutdown state from 3 meters. Dolphins use echolocation, acoustic precision to millimeters at 50 meters. During shutdown state, the shark's acoustic signature becomes undetectable. The shark is not hiding. It is simply erasing itself from every sensory channel prey species evolved to use. They do not chase. They wait. For hours. Sometimes documented at over 6 hours without moving. And then, acceleration. 0 to meters per second in under 3 seconds. The burst covers meters before prey nervous systems can process the threat. If you are within 5 meters, you have 0.3 to 0.6 seconds to react. Harbor seal flight response takes seconds to initiate. The math is simple. The seal never had a chance. It was not outswum. It was ambushed by something that had been waiting in the dark for longer than most animals stay awake. The only part of them you might see is the parasites. Hematocoita elongata, a copepod that attaches permanently to the cornea, both eyes. The parasites are bioluminescent, faint yellow-green glow. In the total darkness of 1500 meters, the only visible feature of a Pacific sleeper shark is the thing that is feeding on its eyes. two small lights in the black, watching you. Except they are not watching. They cannot see you at all. They do not need to. They compensate. Lateral line system, 340% longer than sighted shark species. Ampullae of Lorenzini. Electroreceptors. 2847 individual pores mapped on a single specimen. 6-7% more than a great white. They can detect a seal's heartbeat from 50 to 80 meters away. They can detect prey breathing at the surface from 200 meters below. The pressure waves from your exhalation travel downward. They feel you exhale, and they wait. September 14th1989, Bering Sea, 1847 meters. The crew of the Pacific Explorer thought they had snagged debris. The cable tension read 4200 kilograms, 280% of normal catch weight. When the net broke surface, they found 11 Pacific sleeper sharks. All alive. All with glowing parasites in their eyes. All completely motionless. No thrashing. No attempts to escape. They simply waited. Crew member David Okonkwo approached to begin sorting. The nearest shark, meters female, struck through the netting at his ankle. He never saw it move. One moment still. Next moment, his boot was in its mouth. The strike lasted less than half a second. The shark released immediately and returned to motionless suspension. Even on deck, in open air, after being dragged 1800 meters vertically, it was still hunting. Researchers examined stomach contents from all 11 specimens. They found 3 harbor seals, 2 sea otters, 1 juvenile stellar sea lion, fragments of a Pacific white-sided dolphin. But one shark contained something that should not have been there. A satellite tracking tag. It had been attached to a harbor seal 340 kilometers away 18 days prior. The seal had been tagged in shallow water. The shark was caught at 1847 meters. At some point in those 18 days, that seal descended into the abyss, or was dragged. The tag was still transmitting when they cut it out of the shark's stomach. Primary hunting posture, vertical suspension. Head angled 15 to 20 degrees upward. All fins motionless. Duration of motionless waiting, documented at hours in a single observation session. Researchers initially believed the specimen was dead. No visible movement for 247 minutes. At minute 248, it struck a passing Pacific cod in motion too fast for the camera to capture clearly. Then it returned to motionless suspension. No pursuit of other prey. No change in position. It had waited over 4 hours for a single strike. And it would wait again. Everything I have described so far, the waiting, the ambush, the impossible catches, you might think this only matters for seals. For animals in the water. March 7th2003. Monterey Canyon, 1234 meters. ROV pilot Susan Chen was about to discover that Pacific sleeper sharks do not just hunt animals. They hunt anything that moves, including our machines. Chen's forward camera detected a large object at the edge of visibility, 15 meters ahead, stationary. No movement over 4 minutes. Initial assessment, deceased marine mammal carcass. She maneuvered to within 8 meters for sample collection. The object remained motionless. Gray coloration, roughly cylindrical. Estimated length, meters. At 8 meters, she extended the manipulator arm. At meters from the object, it opened its mouth. Frame-by-frame analysis later showed the shark covered meters in 0.38 seconds. The titanium manipulator arm, rated for 800 kilograms lifting capacity, was inside the shark's mouth before Chen's finger reached the retract button. Bite force, 2100 newtons. The arm was severed cleanly. $3,400 of equipment somewhere in its stomach. The shark released immediately, returned to motionless suspension. And then came the part that disturbed the researchers more than the strike itself. Chen backed the ROV to 25 meters and maintained observation. For 3 hours and 47 minutes, the shark did not move. Then a school of Pacific hake passed within 6 meters. The shark ignored them entirely. No fin movement, no head tracking, nothing. 5 minutes later, a juvenile harbor seal descended into frame, hunting the hake. The shark began a slow approach, meters per second, barely visible. At 8 meters, it stopped. At 6 meters, it stopped again. The seal showed no awareness. At meters, the seal turned and began ascending. The shark struck. The seal was in its mouth in seconds. The shark descended with its prey and disappeared. It had ignored the hake. It had waited for the seal. It was choosing. The question MBARI researchers could not answer: what criteria determine strike versus no strike? Some viable prey ignored. Some attacked. And the ROV arm, was that intentional? Or did it simply resemble something worth eating? Review of the ROV's sonar logs revealed something Chen had not noticed during the dive. The shark had been present at that exact position for at least 2 hours and 14 minutes before she arrived. The vehicle had passed within 30 meters of it during initial descent, without detecting it. The shark had watched the ROV conduct surveys, watched it approach, watched the arm extend, and waited until the arm was within strike range. It had been there the whole time, invisible, patient, waiting. August 23 Road 2011, Suruga Bay, Japan, 1678 meters. JAMSTEC had been monitoring a sperm whale carcass for 2 months. Standard scavenger succession: hagfish, rattails, crabs, occasional sharks. At 02:14 local time, the cameras recorded an anomaly. A Pacific sleeper shark entered frame, meters, among the largest on record. This was not unusual. What was unusual, over the next 47 minutes, 6 more arrived. Then 28. By 03:48, the cameras had counted 43 individual Pacific sleeper sharks. They were not feeding. They were arranging. Time-lapse analysis showed the sharks positioning themselves in a circular formation around the carcass. 3 to 4 meters between individuals. The formation took 2 hours and 3 minutes to complete. At 05:11 the circle was closed. 3 sharks, motionless, facing inward. Then they began rotating. The entire formation rotated counterclockwise at meters per second for 6 hours and 12 minutes, without interruption. At 11:23 a meter 6-gill shark approached from above. Attracted by scent, it descended toward the carcass. The sleeper sharks stopped rotating. All 3 individuals, simultaneously, within a 4-second window. The 6-gill continued descending. At 4 meters above the formation, the circle began contracting. The sharks moved inward at meters per second, maintaining their circular arrangement. The sixth gill reached the carcass, began feeding. At 112641, the circle contracted to contact. The sixth gill was struck by at least 7 sleeper sharks simultaneously. The attack lasted 1-2 seconds. When the sharks returned to circular formation, the sixth gill was gone. No remains, no blood cloud, no debris. The rotation resumed at 112714. They had been waiting, together, for something to enter their circle. Frame analysis revealed the synchronization was within 0.3 seconds across all 4-3 individuals. 4-3 blind animals, in complete darkness, moving with coordination typically seen only in schooling fish with visual contact. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's report contained a single question. We are forced to consider the possibility that these animals share information through a sensory modality we have not yet identified. 2016 to 2019, University of Washington. Dr. Rachel Morrison's team tagged 2-3 Pacific sleeper sharks in the Gulf of Alaska. Shark number 17, a meter female, provided data Morrison initially assumed was equipment malfunction. Over 847 days, shark number 17 visited the same GPS coordinates 2-3 times. Open water. 2847 meters depth. Nothing there. Each visit lasted 6 to 14 hours. Each visit occurred within 7-2 hours of commercial fishing vessels passing through a corridor 1-2 kilometers east. Correlation, 100%. The shark was not following the vessels. It was arriving before them, positioning at depth, waiting for discarded fish waste to sink along predictable trajectories. It had learned where the food would fall. But here is what made Morrison request a leave of absence. Of the 2-3 tagged sharks, 7 had visited the same coordinates. None had ever been documented within 50 meters of each other. They were not traveling together. They were not sharing information through contact. Yet they were all learning the same location, all timing visits to vessel traffic, all developing shared knowledge. And the timing was changing. In 2017, sharks arrived an average of hours before vessel passage. By 2019, they were arriving hours before. They were not just learning the pattern. They were anticipating it with increasing accuracy. Morrison's unpublished notes contained a single question. If they are getting better at predicting vessels, what else are they learning to predict? Based on documented behavior, 3 patterns emerge. Pattern 1. If you have not seen movement in the water for 10 minutes, something is waiting, not absent. Pattern 2. If you can see it, you are already within strike range. Distance that feels safe is not safe. Pattern 3. Escape is possible if you react in the first seconds. After that, the math does not work in your favor. They have been perfecting this for 400 years. Some of them were hunting before your country existed. We think of predators as fast, as aggressive, as pursuing. The Pacific sleeper shark is none of these things. It is slow. It is patient. It waits. And it catches prey that should be physically impossible to catch. Because it understood something we are only beginning to grasp. The most efficient predator is not the one that chases. It is the one that is already there when you arrive. Waiting in the dark, with all the time in the world. This concludes Incident Report 7C. Pacific Sleeper Shark Behavioral Documentation. Additional classified briefings address related specimens in the Somniosus genus, including the Greenland shark, which reaches meters and may live over 500 years. Personnel are advised to maintain situational awareness. Further documentation pending authorization. Remember, if you see it, it has already seen you. But you probably will not see it. That is the point.